Ron. So we are now with Mr.Ron Marz. Ron has worn many hats of writer, editor, and even helped with different screenwriting stuff. So he has worked on Green Lantern and a lot of DC heroes that we have loved. I got introduced to his work through John Carter of Mars. One of my friends was drawing that, Abhishek, and yeah, that's was my first proper intro to his work. So welcome, Ron, to our show, soon
Welcome,
to be show.
welcome to the hockey arena.
So how has been the Garden State Comic Con for you?
It's good. It's my second time here, and this is sort of an old timey comic convention where we're literally in a hockey arena.
Yep.
One of two hockey arenas that are here. The other one being, on the other side of the building, and that one still has ice on the floor. So we're luckily not on the icy part. But this is kind of an old school, just put up a banner and have a comic book show thing where it's not totally celebrity driven, but there is some of that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of comics. There's a lot of comic creators, and there's a lot of comics in long boxes sitting out in the room there, which is kind of cool. You don't always see that at every show you go to. Some shows are much more pop culture oriented. So to come to a place and have a big comic presence and a big comic community to come out for, to get books and get them signed and all that is pretty cool. It's nice that is still part of what we do.
We used to have more cons here, like the biggest one for New Jersey, New York is New York Comic Con. But then again, Terrific Con is close by. I sometimes go to Baltimore as well. The Garden State one is always cozy because all the Qbert School alumni, teachers, they come here. Yeah. So I like that. That's one of my things. I just come out here, I say hello to everyone, meet everyone, and it's always been fun. So yeah, it's hopefully it stays this way. At one point I thought I would like it to grow, but it's like, no, this is
it's sort of lovely as it is.
Yeah.
I'm sure they could sell more space and have a bigger show, but I don't know where they would put it within this space.
Yeah. No, not
if it's going to be here, this is going to be what it is because there's no more room.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, is a good problem to have.
Yeah, and that's good too. Like people come out here. Like I've seen it crowded in the morning, and even like right now, there are some people here. Like we're getting close to closing the doors. Still, there are people. So I guess it's good.
Yeah, it's a big rush in the morning, and then pretty steady throughout the day. There's always a little lull after like lunchtime.
Yeah.
People go graze and then come back.
Yep.
It's air conditioned, so that's good. It's 95 outside, so much better to be in here than out there.
Yep. Now, coming to comic books. So, are there any projects that you are doing? What are your recent projects that you have worked on or working on?
The most recent Marvel stuff, just with the collection, just came out of the Silver Surfer Rebirth Legacy came out. So that was the third of three Surfer and Warlock based miniseries. Next August or this August, there'll be an Emerald Twilight 0 Hour 30th anniversary special that I'm co-writing with Dan Jurgens. Dan's also drawing part of it.
Okay.
So that's an 80-page sort of. It says anniversary special, but it's really like the next chapter of that story. Starring Kyle Rayner, the Green Lantern I co-created with Darryl Banks. So we kind of got to go back and play with those toys again. And I'm doing something for Top Cow that hasn't been announced yet, and doing stuff for Savage Sword of Conan, which is sort of scratching an itch that I've had since I was 12 years old. Because I read Savage Sword when I was a kid. When I stopped reading comics because they were for kids. They're for children read comics, not 12 or 13-year-olds. I still read Savage Sword
For obvious reasons, yeah.
Because naked ladies.
Yeah.
So to be able to go back
Mm-hmm.
to that and contribute stories that are going to be in the black and white magazine, just awesome. I'm having a ball.
Yeah, no, I know Walt wrote a story for that. Um I've heard Roy Thomas's name, that he might be doing something. You are doing it. And what I know, it's 6 part, 6 different books, 50 pages each, something like that. And yeah, they're trying it out.
Yeah, I hopefully it keeps going.
Hopefully it keeps going, yeah.
It's, I mean, they really sort of packaged it just like they used to, just like the
Yeah,
magazines
I've seen
that I picked off the magazine rack when I was
Yeah.
12 or 13 years old,
Yeah.
and sort of cajoled my mother into buying for me, hoping that she wouldn't look inside and see the naked ladies.
Yeah, no, the first two capture the essence of Savage Sword really well. The first two are out. I think the third one comes out next Wednesday, like 26th.
Yeah, third one. I actually just got the PDF of the third one. Looks great.
Yeah.
My first story will be in the fourth one, which I have to dialogue this coming week.
Okay.
It's drawn by Mike Perkins.
Oh, nice. Mike is nice.
And it's an El Borak story,
Uh-huh.
who was sort of one of Robert E. Howard's, proto heroes. Kind of, not a sword swinging barbarian like Conan, but much more kind of the first Indiana Jones in a lot of ways. So, and I love Indiana Jones. So they said, "Do you want to do El Borak stories?" I'm like, "Yeah, I absolutely want to do El
I
Borak
read
stories."
it on like a forum where people are talking about like him coming back and how they will like it. And I see like they are doing all sorts of things with this property. Basically, Carl is coming back. Like Carl is there in one of the stories. Solomon Kane, and yeah.
It's really cool that, I mean, the stuff is published by Titan, but it is being editorially handled by Heroic Signatures.
Heroic Signatures, yeah.
Which owns the Robert E. Howard properties, including Conan.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like it's not being licensed out anymore. Like when Marvel had it or Dark Horse had it, they did not have as much of an editorial presence as they do now, and they're great to work with. They kind of get it. They know when to step into the process, and they know when to leave you alone, and they trust you to do your job, which is more of a rare gift than you would expect in this business.
Yeah. No, my friend Rob Delator, he
oh yeah, his stuff is amazing.
Yeah, he did a few covers for me, and he's kind of my mentor in this. So he has been helping me out, and he says that they're really good.
This isn't rocket, like comics is not rocket science, but sometimes it seems like it because things don't always come out like they're supposed to. But it's basically hire people who know what they're doing and let them do that.
Yeah.
But it's not always that simple.
Yeah. If they say hire you, Roy Thomas, and others, like you guys have lived and breathed this air for a very long time. You know what you're doing. You know the story. So that makes sense why they would run with it, allow you to run with it. So
yeah, so far so good. It's been a pleasure working with those guys, and hopefully it will continue. I have a few more stories lined up now that are approved that I just have to get to writing, and I don't think I'm supposed to tell you who's drawing the next one. So but a really good artist who was the guy that I asked for, and they went out and got him. So
nice. Yeah, they have that ability to get people. So, yeah. Now moving on, you've read The Violated, the book I wrote. So, if you have any thoughts, feedback, comments for me, so.
Well, I mean, other than it's good,
Thank
but
you.
it's look, it's not unusual for me to have people hand me their work at these shows, and which is good. I mean, it's part of what this is about, is seeing people and having, especially at a smaller show like this, where you've got a chance to actually have a conversation with somebody, and it's not like the sort of the cattle call that much bigger shows can be. But you develop a sense after a while of, oh, this person knows what they're doing. Like, and it's not that's not everybody. Like most of the time, you see stuff and it's kind of like, it's okay. So, keep working at it. You've got some stuff to do, but every so often, you being one of the more recent cases, you find somebody that you go, oh, like you get it. There's a spark there, even if it's not perfected yet, and even if it's in process, you know that when you meet somebody that you have that reaction to, that they're going to do this thing. And part of it is also a sense of, nobody's doing comics for like the vast wealth or or the crazy side benefits and the fame, because we don't have that stuff. People think we do, but we don't. So in order to do this, and especially to do this for a living, you have to love this. Yeah. This is hard. Writing is hard. I think writing comics is the hardest kind of writing you can do, because there's in addition to the storytelling aspect and the drama aspect that's endemic to all kinds of writing, there's also the technical aspects of being able to break down the script and the visuals and all that stuff. So that's hard. Drawing the visuals is even harder, as you obviously well know.
Yep.
Nobody in their right mind would choose to do that if you didn't love it, if you didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
There's an adage about, if you can stop trying to break into comics, you should. Right? Yeah. But so the point of that is that if you can't stop doing it, if you love this so much that this is how you have to tell your stories, keep doing it, because you will, it's a lot of work, but you'll eventually get to the point where you're doing this and making it real. So you handed me your hardcover today.
Thank you.
Like
Thank you for this.
Nobody gets to the point where they're doing a hardcover.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, I was in the business probably 6 or 8 years before I ever had my first hardcover, because the hardcovers weren't a thing.
Yeah.
My first hardcover was a Green Lantern graphic novel that took like 2 years to produce. And I went into the office and they handed me that first copy. So, like, oh my God, it's a hardcover. It's a real book. You just went ahead and made your own hardcover.
Thank you.
And you, even within the pages of that hardcover, you can see your growth as a storyteller, both as an artist and as a writer. That is, I don't know whether you realize this or not, but that is, that's sort of the testament to your learning curve. It's right there.
Thank you for this. Now, it wouldn't have been possible without the help and encouragement from people who have supported me through this. So very early on, I met Phil Hester. I used to live in Iowa, and he kind of became one of my mentors. He would call me to workshops. He would teach me, give me input whenever I could. He connected me with some editors as well, and that became one of the things that kept encouraging me. And later on, when I started meeting artists, Abhishek Malsuni, Rob Delator, Michael Yannon, they kind of helped me with storytelling as well, and they're very kind and helpful. So if I make a page and I have the layout and I send it to say Rob, he would come back with feedback, like change this perspective or show it from this angle, and it will look better. So that really helped me through this.
Well, this is comics are generational, and that each generation sort of has to put a hand out and help up the next generation. That certainly that was true for me. Like Jim Starlin taught me how to do this. He taught me how to write comics. He taught me how to deal with editors, and all of it. I was taken by the hand and sort of led into Marvel Comics, and I've been doing it ever since. So there is a responsibility on those of us who are fortunate enough to do this for a living, to help the rest of us who want to do this for a living, and that's why you end up picking out the ones that, oh, this person gets it. Like this is the person that if you put time and attention to it, it's going to come back. It's not wasted effort, because once in a while you do go out of your way to help somebody, and ultimately they don't want to do the work. They don't want to, because it's hard work, and often unrewarding
Yeah.
and frustrating. So you have to, you have to be okay with that. You have to be
Yeah.
okay with the rejection and the fact that you can't make that thing look like you want it to look yet, or you can't make the story tie together. It's it's a
Yeah.
learning curve all the time. But when you have other people to depend on, when you can hand your layouts to somebody
Yeah.
like Rob or Phil, and say, what do you think, and get feedback from someone who does this every day of their lives,
Yeah.
it's invaluable. Nobody comes into this business fully formed.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Arthur Adams. Art showed up just drawing like Art Adams. But for the most part, there are very few people that
Yeah.
come in and are just like who they are going to be creatively and professionally from day one.
Yeah.
So for all the rest of us mere mortals, it's a learning curve, and like I said, that your curve is on full display in the book.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so moving on to our next question. I'm from India. I know you have been involved with Indian comic book companies, Indian stories, Indian comics for quite some time. You've been going to Comic Cons in India. So if you want to share some stories or books you have worked on that stuck with you, or you like them, if you want to share that, it would be good.
Well, I worked initially for Virgin Comics, which later became Liquid Comics and is still Liquid Comics, and I'm still in touch with those guys and doing stuff for them. And that was really my introduction to, Indian storytelling, Indian culture, more specific Indian culture stuff than I was aware of. I was always kind of fascinated by the culture and by the mythology and by the visual language. So I got paid to sort of educate myself on all that stuff, because I was the editor coming in and editing stories that I didn't have the cultural grounding to really be passing judgment on. So we eventually had to have a discussion of, look, guys, if I'm not getting something, or if I'm screwing up something, you got to say something.
Yeah.
You have to tell me, oh, this is why this works this way.
Uh-huh.
And once we sort of had that conversation of like, it seemed like a very cultural thing to me that you don't talk, you don't talk back to the boss. You don't give feedback to the boss. He gives feedback to you. And I was like, this can't be a one-way channel. It's got to be a dialogue. Once we had that conversation, things worked a lot better because I was learning as they were learning. And so I've been, off and on, I've done India-based projects for the last 15 years probably.
I remember in Virgin Comics you edited probably Ramayan 3392. Samik Dasgupta and someone else were the writer for that. Abhishek Singh was doing the art. I think that was the first one, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong. And that's long time ago. They were Virgin Comics back then. I think they have an imprint that they are calling Graphic India right now. So that's also going on. So I remember that. And Sharad and Suresh, they are good people, I guess. They did Indian versions of Marvel and DC Comics. They reprinted books there, and I think that's how they got into this, and then they started Virgin Comics. So it was good, and I have those books. It makes me feel proud that I can sit with you here and talk about those books after so many years.
I thought it was a great experience. And sort of led to me having a little bit of notoriety in India, because I just last year the TV series that I worked on came out in India, Fireflies, on Z5 I think is the platform, and that came to me because I had worked with some of the storyboard artists, and they said, oh, you should talk to this guy about being the story editor. So I got brought in as a story editor on a TV series that I had no idea what was going on. But it turned out to be a great experience. I mean, I think they learned from me and I learned from them. And I think in that sense, it was good to have a set of eyes on the material that had no connection to the material whatsoever. So I was the first reader in a lot of ways. days. So
Yeah.
I'd come in and read the scripts and then
Yeah.
send feedback, and then we'd have meetings on all the scripts. And I think we really tightened up the stories. And it was just cool to work on, because there would be spots where I'd be like, well, why is there a magic tree in the forest? And the answer would be, because there just is. That's the way it is. So my Western sensibilities had questions, and sometimes it was a question of, oh yeah, that's a hole we got to cover. And sometimes the answer was, well, that's just how we do things here.
The writer of the series, Alok Sharma, he's a friend of mine. I think he and Nupur Sharma, they wrote the script. He's a very nice guy. As in Mumbai last year, I went to his place just to like meet up with him, spend some time there, and I met him this year as well in Mumbai Comic Con. Very nice guy. So he was talking about you. It's like, yep, I'll tell Ron about you. And
It was great, and it's, because we all do the same thing. We're all storytellers. At the base level of it, we're all storytellers. We come at it from different, different cultural backgrounds and different experiences, but we all do the same thing. So it's like, like I was working with people that were literally on the other side of the world that I'd never met before, but we were all sort of brothers and sisters from day one, because we all do the same thing, and we're all like learning from each other. I am fascinated by the culture and the storytelling tradition, and I hope to be doing some more of it. Because it's exciting to go do something new and stretch different muscles. Then look, superhero comics are great, and I love doing those, and I'm very happy doing those. But to be able to like sample all the dishes on the smorgasbord, to me, that's where things gets exciting. So you're not repeating yourself all the time. You're speaking a different language.
That's I think our penultimate question. Our final question is a bit out there. So we just want to know your take on all the AI tools that are being used. So I know like for artists it's been weird because some of the stuff is being replaced. For writers as well, that's coming in, and I've seen it at work, that it takes a script and spits out something entirely different, or it can do a follow-up to a script as well. So if you have a take on that, or
I have no interest in AI. Like as a creator, or as a reader / audience, I don't care what a machine does. Like I want a story that meant so much to someone that they had to tell it, and that they had to put blood and sweat and tears into that effort. AI generated art just lays there. Sometimes it is a pretty picture, but there's no soul behind it. There's no person. Like I do what I do, and I still work on comics because I want to work with somebody, with Daryl Banks or Tom Ranney, who are sitting next to me today and have been friends for years. Like I want to work with those guys to make a thing that only the two of us could make together. To me, that's where the magic is in this. That's where the alchemy is that I could write the same script for Daryl and give the same script to Tom, and it would come out completely differently on the page because they do things differently. So that to me is where the excitement in what we do is. Being able to plug some shit into a prompt and and have an AI spit panels back out at you, or spit a cover back out at you. I mean, it's not. It's less than useless. It's offensive. Because I value the human creativity that we bring to this, not just the fact that I can produce a AI comic in 2 days. But it's gonna suck. Who cares? Like the purpose of doing this is not the finished product. It's doing it. It's the journey of making that thing and then sharing that with someone else. If you're not collaborating with another person and bringing their creativity and their soul into it,
Yeah.
like to me, it just becomes a product.
Yeah.
And it's not an accident that all of these AI champions out there call what we do content.
Yeah.
What we do is stories.
Yeah.
What we do is make myths. It's not content.
Yeah.
If you just see it as content, you shouldn't be making it.
Exactly. Yep. No, there's always like an easy way to do things, but there's no soul behind it. That's it. I also feel the same thing. I've seen a lot of AI art, and it just looks blank. Even if they're using the style of an artist that I know, stealing it probably, still, I don't see the soul behind
Well,
it.
there are people who are much more interested in having written or having drawn,
Yeah.
so that they have a finished product that then you can go, see, I did this. Want me
Yeah.
to sign it for you? That's not why we do
No.
this. Like we do this to write. We do
Yeah.
this to draw and to discover things along the way.
Yep.
As we're doing this. I don't think I've ever written a story that went exactly how I figured it out in my head, because you sit down and you do the
Yeah.
process, and that's how you get this thing done. I mean, Tom and I went out to dinner last night, and Tom and I are working on a Western together, and I said, well, here's the opening scene that I have in mind. And I told Tom, he's like, that's really cool. How about we add this to it? And so that in microcosm is,
Yeah.
that's why we do this.
Yeah.
Because I came up with this thing and Tom came up with this thing, and we put them together, and now we've got something.
Yep.
Now it's living and breathing. You will never have that experience
Never
working
have,
with
yeah.
AI.
Yep. No, makes sense. I think that kind of wraps up our question and answer. We are really new to it, but we're still doing it. Thank you for your time, and thank you for doing the forward for the book, and thank you for everything.
My pleasure, man. Always.